Sicotte, executive editor of Brewer. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Podcast here on Spotify and on YouTube. Make sure you're liking and subscribing wherever you're watching. And of course, we're available 24 hours a day at brewermag.com for all your business resource needs. We're sponsored by Keg Logistics, and you can go to keglogistics.com/brewermag for more details. Well, when most breweries think about partnerships, they often think about collaboration beers or sponsoring a community event. But today's guest on the Brewer Podcast approaches partnerships from a much broader perspective as a core strategy for growing their brand. Joining me today is Bryan Sperber, who's president and CEO of the Michael Waltrip Brewing Company. And over the past several years, the company has evolved its business model, shifting from operating its own brick and mortar brewery to focusing on strategic partnerships, brand development, and creating experiences that connect consumers in new ways. Our conversation begins with the company's latest collaboration surrounding ESPN's Sport Fishing Championship with a blonde ale. But it quickly has expanded into a discussion about how breweries can evaluate partnerships, what lessons craft beer breweries can borrow from the sports marketing business, and why success can often be measured by much more than beer sales. So whether you're thinking about your next collaboration, you're looking to strengthen your marketing strategy, or simply interested in how brands evolve over time, I think you're going to find some value in this conversation. Here's my chat with Bryan Sperber, president and CEO of the Michael Waltrip Brewing Company on the Brewer Podcast. This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And we're joined here on the Brewer Podcast with Bryan R. Sperber, the president and CEO of Michael Waltrip Brewing and Waltrip Brands. Bryan, thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Well, thanks for the invitation, John. Glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. And I saw that, we got some releases from you guys. Some new beers are coming out. We'll be talking about those. But, I kind of wanted to, set the stage. What is Michael Waltrip Brewing? How's it evolved since you guys, kind of brought the plan together, put it into place? And you guys have made some changes over these last few years.
We have, my background was involved, in NASCAR, running racetracks, and most recently at Phoenix Raceway, where I spent about 17 years as president. And so that's how Michael and I became friends over the years. So people always ask you, how did you and Michael Waltrip ever end up together? Well, there's the reason. And so we would see each other at events, or when he would come to Phoenix for races that we were hosting. Just got to know him over the years, and we became friends, and just really admired him from a business standpoint, but as importantly, the way he's just able to connect with people of all walks of life. It's really incredible skill. He puts people at ease, and they just love being around him. And so, you add beer to that, and it's a really good combination. And so we had been talking about, maybe doing something together business wise. And it worked out that, the timing was right for us to put Michael Waltrip Brewing together. And I left NASCAR and joined up with Michael, and we got the company started. And wow, what we didn't know was a lot. And we jumped out there and made a bunch of mistakes in the early days and just kind of tried to find our way. But over time, we've gotten a little bit better at the business side, and a lot better at the quality side of the product. So we're really proud of where the company has gone over these years, and the quality of the beer to me and a lot of folks that like it is really, really strong. And our marketing has gotten better, and our understanding of the marketplace has gotten better. So we're in a good spot, and we're growing. And I like to think that we have a bit of a tailwind in a challenging market right now.
Sure. Yeah, how would you describe the company today versus how you guys started? Because, you've had some evolution through there, from being a brick and mortar brewery to what you guys are doing now with the different locations and the Michael Waltrip signature bar. Kind of lead us through the changes in that.
Yeah, I mean, John, when we got started, Michael and I didn't come at this as being home brewers, so we really didn't have any kind of technical background in terms of brewing beer or packaging beer, but we knew what we liked, and so our point of view was let's make beer that he and I enjoy, and then really lean on our marketing and sports business background to approach the marketplace from that point of view. And so that's kind of how we got started. And I always thought of ourselves as not as much a beer brand, but really as a sports marketing and promotions company that happened to own a beer company. Yeah. And so that's not really changed a lot. That's still kind of the case today. We've just gotten I think a lot better at it over the years, and our point of view on how to approach the marketplace has been sharpened. There's no doubt, and like I said, we've made a lot of mistakes, as a lot of young companies and a lot of young brands are sometimes do. We certainly have made our fair share as well. But now I think, that as we've evolved especially from our production standpoint, where, we were trying to produce product on our own. And it was really, really challenging for us to get the flavor profiles and the quality that we really wanted. And to be able to have some options in terms of packaging was very, very difficult for us to kind of crack that code. And we found ourselves spending a lot more time on that than on the areas where we felt like we had an advantage, which was in sports and marketing, and particularly racing. And so it was also, we found it very limiting for us to try to be able to, try to be able to produce this, product line on our own. And so over the years, we just realized, kind of what know what you don't know, and sought out partnership on the production side and brewing side. And so we've been able to do that. And it's really changed a lot of our capabilities, John. We did hire our own brewmaster. So we have which is kind of unique in the world of co-packing, where our brewmaster works for us. And so he burrows into, our contract brewing partners' facilities. Looks to add value in terms of recipe creation, sourcing ingredients, and just ideas around even things like labor. That all become really important when you get to the end of the process, and you have a price on a 6-pack of beer. So everything you can save along the way, obviously, is helpful, and quality that can be built in along the way is also super helpful. And so his name's Levi Duncan. He's been with us now for about 2 years. Just an incredible brewer, super talented, and has really helped to raise the quality of our product in our view significantly. And so we're really proud of where we are on the quality of the beer side. But what the other part of that from a marketing standpoint, John, is that we've been able to sort of crack the code on how we can do smaller runs of packaged beer. That was always a real challenge for us in the old days, is to try to do a package run. You're looking at 30 to 60 barrels of beer, and in small, in smaller opportunities, it just became very difficult to produce that much product and take a leap of faith that, we don't know where this beer is going to even be sold. And so with this new platform that we've developed, we're super nimble. We can get beer in smaller runs, produced very, very quickly. And as it does well, we'll follow that up with another run, and then another run, and so on. So it's really lowered the risk profile on being able to do partnerships. And so you're starting to see that now. You referenced that at the beginning of the show. We're able to now start to develop some of these marketing relationships where it doesn't require us to commit to a large run of packaged beer. So it's been really, really good for us, and it's something I think we're going to continue to do more of.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to kind of dive into as well, is the collaborations. The first one that I saw, which was actually the second release, and then Jill was able to give me the other one with Famous Toastery, was what Sports Fishing Championship. You guys are doing a blonde ale for that. And again, like you said, the marketing part is so important now. And I think that sometimes collaboration beers just kind of get thrown out because it's a great opportunity for breweries to get to know each other or work together, two brands putting together. This is an opportunity to put your name into a different avenue of people. And I'm sure, like you said, you have that background. How important is a beer a collaboration and partnering like this when it comes to kind of opening up the doors to different avenues of revenue, or even just a consumer base that you are helping discover your brand?
Yeah, no, it's really a big opportunity for us because the world of sport fishing is what I would call sort of racing adjacent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossover with fan base, in fishing and in NASCAR, and so we feel very comfortable in that space. In fact, Michael's got a background in offshore fishing as well. He sent me a video the other night. Standing in front of a mounted blue marlin that he caught with Dale Earnhardt Sr. years ago. So you'll probably see that on our social media channel soon. But there's a natural connection to sport fishing and even some of the people that are involved in the sport fishing championship. So we felt very comfortable in embarking on a collaboration with them. But you start to peel back the opportunity, and their championship is featured on ESPN. So they have a lot of reach from a media standpoint, and a lot of capabilities with social media and promotion, as do we. And so kind of putting those two together, we're able to tap into, to their audience. And conversely, we're able to work with them to introduce Sport Fishing Championship to the NASCAR audience in a much bigger way. So it really is a 1 + 1 equals 3 marketing match. And then the beer part of it, was really, really a lot of fun to develop. So we had an idea of the blonde ale that we thought would work. And then as we got into it with Sport Fishing Championship, the idea surfaced that, their team wanted to take a swing at doing the label. And so we were thrilled. And so they did that. They did an incredible job on developing the label, which is what we are using. And we're really proud of it. And I think they're excited about it as well. And so that will debut in Maryland around the Mid-Atlantic Championships in August. And so that'll be hitting the marketplace mid-July for the run-up. But we're really excited about the product and the reaction that we've gotten so far in Maryland, and are optimistic that not only will this program be a success for celebrating the tournament in Maryland, but potentially has some legs even beyond the marketing opportunity.
Sure. What characteristics do you look for when it comes to partnering with someone and deciding that it's a good fit? Because it does look like you guys are very much going, you have the beer here, but you want to be able to find the avenues where maybe craft beer especially hasn't been a part of it. Have you guys definitely sat down and, kind of laid out things and you're approaching people, or do you feel that because of the relationships and the name that you can find avenues as well?
A lot of this, John, is opportunistic, and it really is the people that are involved. And so, in the case of, like, for example, Sport Fishing Championship, I had a chance to meet some of the executives that are in the organization, and just really clicked. And there was a high degree of comfort in working with them. And so that began the conversation around ideas. Gee, what could we do if we got together? And that led us to what we announced recently in terms of our partnership. And so that's not uncommon that things get started that way. We have a collaboration with a regional restaurant chain here called Famous Toastery. Yeah. Very high quality, really noted for their breakfast and early day part meals, just fantastic, high quality brand. And that got started again because of the people involved. And so I think that's, for us, maybe there's a smarter way to do it, but for us, it really has been, who's involved has been the first question that, that Michael will ask, or I'll ask when we think about these collaborations. And then the second part is, okay, does it feel like there's a natural crossover here, that there's a fit where, not only would they bring value to our brand, but our brand could help bring value to them. And we got started, about 2.5 years ago, I guess, in a collaboration with Austin Peay University, right outside Nashville in Clarksville, Tennessee. And that was one, John, where we looked at that and thought, gosh, they want to promote the university, they want to promote their sports properties, and there's nobody better at talking to the Austin Peay fan base than Austin Peay University. But where we could help them is that there's some governors adjacent race fans that are out in that region. And so if by putting, their brand together with Michael Waltrip, we're able to introduce the university to a NASCAR audience that might be interested in attending games at Austin P, or maybe you are interested in attending the university. Well, there's a way that we can help to bring value to them. And then conversely, we wanted to be able to introduce Michael Waltrip Brewing to the university community. And there's no better partner to be able to do that than APSU. And so that's how that all kind of came together. And again, just another, kind of a 1 + 1 = 3 opportunity, and it's been very successful.
When it comes to doing things like this, do you see it as numbers based, like an ROI type on it, or just an opportunity to open the door? Like, do you take a hard look and be like, this was successful because we got X amount of people to follow, or we sold the beer out in X amount of time? How do you discover that, okay, this is worth going forward, or continuing to do, or however the future is for something with a collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think, we take each opportunity in of itself. And so, in certain cases, it might really be a volume discussion. Say, okay, is the trouble worth the trouble? This is going through a lot of effort, and are we really ringing the bell? And are our partners getting something out of it? And so that's always going to be part of the conversation. But the bigger picture for us has been around connecting to audiences, and we've been at this for about 6, 7 years now. And so Michael and I talk about it all the time. We're close to it, so we're very aware of what's happening. But the truth is, most people don't know anything about our brand. And we're very, very tiny in the landscape of beer brands. And so for us, a lot of this, John, is introducing the brand to audiences, because they've never heard of us. And so I think whether it's working with Austin P State University to introduce the brand to the university community, or being able to work with Sport Fishing Championship and have some assets on ESPN, all of that is incredibly important for a small brand that's trying to gain some footing. Just to be able to let people know we exist, introduce them to the brand, and hopefully they get excited about it and want to seek that out, whether it's at a bar, restaurant, or a retailer, or at a Michael Waltrip signature bar.
Yeah, the one thing that I've always heard, and I've been doing this for a full-time job now for a decade plus, is how great the craft beer industry is, how welcoming it is. Compared to your previous jobs, how has the idea of being in the industry and selling beer, like sharing ideas, working with people, there's so many, they call it co-opetitions, like, have you seen that compared to what you've done in the past, and when you move into this, or do you see some pushback because of the fact that it's, well, you have a celebrity brand, or you guys are just trying to capitalize on a name and it's not about the beer? Like, how do you fight that, or have you seen it at all? This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
Well, I think, yeah, man, it's you're bringing back some memories for me from the early days. Yeah, I think when we got started, people thought, oh, this is just a gimmick, and Michael's not really involved, and this is going to be a flash in the pan. And so we worked really hard in the early days for people to understand that Michael's a co-owner, co-founder. He's very much involved in what we're doing. It's not some kind of a licensing or an endorsement deal that's on an annual contract or something like that. So he's very, very much involved. But I think in the early days there was some skepticism about what we were doing, and certainly some arrows were flung our way. But over time, and we've been here now for half a decade or more. I think the community has seen, okay, well, maybe these guys are here for the right reasons, and want to support the industry and do what we can to advance the cause of enjoying beer. And so I think over the last number of years, we haven't seen any kind of pushback or resistance, and it's been been really, really positive. And there's a lot of breweries that want to work with us. And so we get calls all the time from other breweries that, would love to partner with us either as a, contract brewing relationship or develop, collaborations. And so you'll see probably more of that coming too, as we continue to grow.
Very cool. Well, you've spent years in sports business, and obviously that's kind of going off of this because it is a lot more competitive in that industry where brands are just reaching for fan attention all the time. What do you think breweries can learn from that? Is it too cutthroat? Are we not cutthroat enough in this industry to grab fans' attention? How are you guys doing it as well? Like, what kind of lessons have you learned that have, kind of translated over?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think, for us, we came at it as outsiders. So, we've had to learn everything, and we're still learning. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I love this quote about, either you're winning or you're learning. And I said, well, we've learned a lot because, we got beat up there in those early days. But, I think the way we approach it is the way we've approached sports and, kind of our old lives in the racing and sports business. And that, we try to approach it as more of a holistic point of view. In other words, that, there's an element of this that's, business to consumer. There's an element of it's business to business. And to me, it really starts to work when you can get both sides of that all in alignment. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about, what's the message? How would that resonate with our distributor partners? How will it resonate with retailers, bar, restaurant owners, and how will it resonate with consumers? All kind of thinking about that as one thing. And so that, I think, is maybe a little different, but it definitely comes out of our background with sports and how we think about, whether it was promoting NASCAR races or college football or whatever it might be. It's kind of the same things. I guess, we just don't know any different. So we're just doing what we've always been doing. And maybe it's a little bit of a departure from a traditional approach, I guess.
Let's look back at the, especially the blonde ale you guys are going to be coming out with. How do you lay out a media plan for it with, knowing it's going to be on ESPN, it's going to be with, a tournament style. There's going to be, it's not just slapping a logo up somewhere. You guys seemingly have more because it's obviously a beer is for it. Do you look at that as an engagement strategy first versus a beer release? I mean, how do you view what this beer is going to be for you guys?
I think in the case of Sport Fishing Championship, we took a little bit of a different tact. And so we approached this as a partnership between Waltrip Brands, the marketing and media company, and Sport Fishing Championship first and foremost. And so those two entities came together in the collaboration, and how can we help them introduce Sport Fishing Championship to a wider audience, leaning in on our media capabilities, Michael's celebrity, the whole NASCAR nation and motorsports world. And conversely, how can Sport Fishing Championship help us, introduce Waltrip Brands and everything that, that we're building, especially on the media side, to a bigger audience. And maybe there's some legions of sport fishing fans that would like to learn more about motor racing and car culture. And so that's how we approached it first. And then as those conversations really got going, then the idea started to surface of, hey, what do you think if we anchored this around a product as maybe almost a test case, is just sort of a limited time only. We're going to just give this thing a shot and see what happens, and create an idea for people to talk about, kind of a point of differentiation. And so that's really, John, how it kind of got started. And then we got excited about the blonde ale. Levi Duncan, our brewmaster, had a recipe that he was very interested in developing, and so that became the beer. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the Sport Fishing Championship team developed the label, which is just phenomenal. It's just really on point and so authentic to the sport fishing world. And those two came together around this product, and then we started to think about taking it to market. So one of our first conversations was with our distributor partner in Maryland, Backup Beverage. And so before we would agree to move forward on a collaboration, we always want to make sure we've got buy-in from all of our partners. And so they were excited about it, and they were getting good feedback from the retail market and bar restaurant market in Maryland. And so that gave us confidence to move forward. And we put it all together in pretty short order, leaning in on our production capabilities that we touched on earlier in the show, to be able to go ahead and commit to doing a moderate run of product right now, knowing that we could always come back and brew more and package more if we decide to continue the product.
How about on the other end with Famous Toastery and creating something? Is this something that is and I have the press release in front of me, but not enough time to read it right now. Is this a limited run type thing? Or are you guys, kind of again looking at the numbers, seeing if this is something that could happen going forward? Is it just available through them? What's the strategy for that?
Yeah, the collaboration really came together around the founder of Famous Toastery, Robert Menard, has had an interest in racing. And so the brand Famous Toastery has dabbled a little bit in NASCAR sponsorship and in other sports over the years. The company is headquartered here in the greater Charlotte area. So you can't live here and not have some exposure to NASCAR and to racing. And so he's a really terrific guy. He grew up in New York. And so he didn't have a history with racing, but is a fast learner and has really caught on. And his restaurants have really resonated with the NASCAR community just because they're a scratch kitchen. It's really high quality food. Service is off the charts, and so they've built an incredibly loyal following regionally here and are growing, and they're opening new locations in other parts of the country. And so he and I had become friends over the last few years, and we'd meet for coffee and just kind of talk about what's happening in your world and what's happening in our world. And just over time, John, this idea of like, hey, what would it look like if we decided to do something together? And very quickly, it caught some traction, and we just started talking and kind of ideating this. And I thought this could be a really unique offering where we can help him extend the Famous Toastery brand into some new areas, and also, for us, it could show off some of our brewing chops a little bit, and show what we're capable of, and create a different product offering for retail. And so that was our thought. And so yes, the Famous Toastery locations will have the product available. So they will have the 4-pack, 16-ounce 4-packs available, and people can have them there or take them to go. But we also extended this to retail. So Lowe's Foods, which is a retail chain in this region, is coming on also as our retail partner. And there'll be some other, bar restaurants that will be picking it up on allocation. It's a very small run. And this is definitely a marketing first program in terms of introducing it, but the quality of the beer was paramount. And so we took our time and really building the recipe. Levi did just an incredible job, even going back and using techniques from the 1920s, where he introduced bread yeast into the brewing process to give it a little bit more of a bready flavor for the classic cinnamon roll ale that we've produced under the Famous Toastery brand. So the beer itself, it tastes like you're biting into one of their incredible cinnamon rolls, but that breadiness that he imparted with the old techniques from the 1920s was really cool. In fact, our contract brewing co-packing partners, I think, kind of raised an eyebrow when he said we wanted to do this. Like, what are you talking about? But they went with it, and I'm really grateful they did, because the final result is just an incredible beer that's been a lot of fun to make. I can't wait for people to try it, and if they like it, maybe we'll make some more.
Sure. Well, last business question for you. Kind of always I like to end with some advice that you can and give to other people. And I know you've kind of already said you're either winning or learning. So if someone's listening right now or watching on YouTube, are there partnerships that you feel are still available out there for, it could be, something little, in a small brewery, on the other side of the country from you, that there's opportunities that maybe breweries are missing out on. I feel like everyone feels like they've tapped out their resources, but is there still something out there, using your marketing mind, that there's a consumer base that hasn't been tapped yet?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you approach it the way we kind of think about it is publicity, connecting to audiences first and foremost, and then the beer is just part of that process. The sky's the limit. There's so many brands out there looking for exposure, looking to extend their message into different audiences, and I think if there's brands listening that have an audience, even if it's a localized audience, that's important to other brands. And so just know your worth, that, hey, we're bringing something to the table, and then find people that you want to work with, because ultimately that really is, it sounds cliche, but that really is the most important thing. Is nothing goes smoothly 100% of the time. There'll be bumps in the road, twists and turns, and you want to be able to have collaboration partners that are in this for the right reasons, and that you can roll with and build something really cool and unique that'll deliver value for them, but also help create some opportunities for the brand itself.
Well, Bryan, I appreciate you talking business with us, but I do like to end things a little more levity, a little more fun, some fun stuff. So I'll start with this one. You are a car guy, so I think this one will go right up your alley. But if you got one free pass to steal any fictional vehicle from any TV show, any movie, any cartoon you've ever seen, what are you stealing and taking on a joyride?
Oh my gosh. That is a really good question. The first thing that popped in my head was the Starsky and Hutch red with the white striped Torino. I don't know why, John, but that popped into my head. So we'll go with that one.
Mine would have to be, and I've seen it and I think I've touched it, is the General Lee. Like, it's just a Charger, but like, it's just the fact that it's that orange paint job and the 01 on the side. I grew up, watching that, and that's what introduced me to NASCAR. I mean, Cale Yarborough and who raced for Hardee's in the 80s? It was Cale, right?
Cale, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The other one that I thought of, this would go back to my youth, was the Golf 917 Porsche from Steve McQueen's Le Mans movie. So that would be one I'd love to see in person.
The first thing that came to my mind when I was thinking of this question, it was going to be the Batmobile.
Sure, that's a good one.
That's another good one too. But which one? There's many versions now, so
that's true.
But it's always that. What's a completely normal? You're an adult. You have tasks, but you still feel wildly unqualified to actually be doing this. You're always like, I can't believe that I'm an adult and I have to do this.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt.
I was saying, what is something that you feel that you don't get to do, that you can't believe that you're doing it?
Oh gosh, man, that's everything. I mean, I think when we're building recipes at the brewery and you get to try beer for a living, like that, does it get better than that? I don't know. That's pretty awesome. And I've been blessed, man. I've had so many great experiences being around sports, and being able to kind of draft behind Michael and what the opportunities that he gets, and it's just been incredible. It's been awesome, and we have an awesome team now at Waltrip Brands, and so being able to work with them every day it's really a joy.
I feel the same way. Like, my wife kind of teases me because she's like, you realize you went from being a sports anchor on TV to being a sports play-by-play radio guy to working for a newspaper in sports to now writing and doing a beer podcast. Like, I've never grown up, so I'll officially wear that badge. I'm happy for it.
Hey, I love it. It's great.
The final question: what's the most ridiculous or unexpected thing you've ever been asked to do at a previous job?
Well, I'll tell you, man, going back to the NASCAR days,
Sure.
We'd get some crazy requests at Phoenix Raceway. I remember, we had somebody that wanted to spread their ashes at Victory Lane. We had to turn that one down. Like wanting to get married at the track. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So that was about every week we would get those kinds of requests. So it was always something.
I'm sure it's definitely an intense fandom when it comes to NASCAR racing, especially over the years. So
That's
I
cool.
could see you having some crazy requests. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk and sharing some about yourself and talking a little bit about Michael Waltrip Brewing, and looking forward to, tasting some of those beers as they're coming out this summer. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, man, let's crack open a few this summer. That'd be fun.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.